So welcome everybody to first Friday of the month. Love starting my Fridays where I am in the Pacific Northwest. It's very dark and drizzling and raining, and the sky is barely getting light. So it has definitely changed season. But I've always loved starting Fridays at the beginning of the month off like this, with just a little shared inquiry together, see what happens. So but I'd start with reading this quote from A Mind at Home with Itself. This is Byron Katie's book, written with her husband, Stephen Mitchell. So Katie says this: people think that self-realization is something special, but we're not at home until we're at home in the ordinary. That's where it feels comfortable. Someone will say, "How are you?" And I might say, "Fine." It has joined. It has penetrated. So I'm unrecognizable. I'm standing with everyone else on the corner of the street, eating the hot dog, watching the band go by. I'm neither more nor less than you. If we are even one breath more or one breath less than anyone else, we're not at home. One more time, as everyone's coming on. People think that self-realization is something special, but we're not at home until we're at home in the ordinary. That's where it feels comfortable. Someone will say, "How are you?" And I might say, "Fine." It has joined. It has penetrated. So I'm unrecognizable. I'm standing with everyone else on the corner of the street, eating the hot dog, watching the band go by. I'm neither more nor less than you. If we're even one breath more or one breath less than anyone else, we're not at home. So don't you just love noticing how the mind runs and talks about more and less, more, not enough, less, better, worse. Thoughts about others, thoughts about ourselves, how we should improve, what's happening that makes us nervous. It's almost the mind is so busy, hard to imagine. So goodness, wonderful to have that question for. So yeah, just another bozo on the bus, says Anne. That's right. So, okay, that we're doing that, thinking is happening. So what are you all aware of and what are you noticing? And you just see, let it all be here. I love the doorway into understanding, it seems, at least it's been my experience, is going into the things that feel like they're really disturbing. How strange. Yeah, Mary.
Well, I really appreciate that quote. It's just perfect for me today because I adopted 2 cats yesterday and I started to get stressed out. And so it's such an ordinary thing. It's hardly a major crisis, like somebody would say,
Yeah.
how can you even bring that up? Like you adopted some cats, how nice, And I was looking at myself and it just I was trying to look at the thoughts and it was very revealing actually to take some time to try to find out what that stress was. And it's actually big. It's connected to a lot of things. It's connected to responsibility and thoughts I have about what it means to have responsibility and how I have to do things perfectly. And so it unfolded and I understood why it was pretty significant, like the past images and the future images. They were big. There was a lot there. So I was really glad I didn't dismiss it. Like the ordinary life is just so full.
Yeah, wonderful.
Yeah.
A lot can be revealed on tiny little, what seems tiny. It's just the mind is talking about it being tiny.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Tiny. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. Yeah, Jennifer, hello.
Hey, good morning. What that quote brought up for me is something that's been on my mind, and we've talked about recently, which is body image. It's something I totally struggle with, and I find myself constantly comparing my body to the bodies of women that I encounter in person, and then those on television. I mean, it's just constant. Am I the biggest person in the room? Is there someone here that's bigger than me? Are their breasts sagging more than mine are sagging? I mean, just awful. I mean, really awful, Grace.
Oh, yeah. You feel like doing the work?
Sure.
All right. So, I mean, just noticing everybody. I love how Jenny just mentioned in the chat before you even spoke. Sadly, I'm thinking I'm less because I'm fat. Just the judgment. So you're just noticing this awareness of something in the middle that's balanced, and then something that says I'm less than, or I'm better than, I'm more than, or whatever it's doing. And in this case, less, or worried about being less. So noticing the amount of thinking around that can seem like so much, like a companion. And see if there's a time that comes to mind when you can prove, says your mind, it looks like proof that it isn't so good to be whatever you think is dangerous to be, heavy, saggy.
Yeah, and what comes up for me is being without a man. That seems to be proof of being less.
Okay, so it starts there. So here I am, a single person, and mine goes to work on sorting out why. How do you know where is there some evidence that it could be the body, and that's why?
I'm going to my my early 20s when I was weighed 125 pounds, and the man I was married to thought I could use to lose some weight. And I've had other men comment on my stomach.
That's a good one. So go there. It's like awareness, something comes in, they're saying what they say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it feels, it's hurtful. It feels less than, it feels rejection. There's a lot of rejection there.
Okay, so he's rejecting me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we'll just start with that. You remember that scene and that situation?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So body's being commented on. Remember where you were and just any details about what was happening. And
Well, I was sitting on the couch, and he was walking past, and I mean, it was just like an average, normal day. I think we were arguing, though. Yeah, so it was an arrow that was slung.
okay. And do you remember the words?
I don't even know that there were words. I think that what happened was he well, I know that what happened was that he took the waistband of his pants and pulled it out like, Santa Claus fat kind of, and, just looked at me with harsh eyes.
Yeah, that's all it takes. Good to see. It's just not even words. It's this gesture.
Mhm.
Okay. I mean, so thank you for doing this, Jennifer. It's brave, and everyone, you can just find somebody saying something and notice how it doesn't even have to have words. It's just a gesture or a look.
Yeah, and it's just devastating. I mean, it's just,
Okay, well, let's look, because that has to be in the reaction, just noticing. Devastating. So see first if it's true. He's rejecting me because of my body. He's rejecting me with that gesture.
and like I said, I think it was an arrow slung. I don't know that it was. So so I'm going to go with no, it's not true.
Ah, okay.
I think it was just a desire to hurt
Okay.
as opposed to a complete rejection.
Okay. Yeah. Just powerful to see. I can't absolutely know it. I'm just feeling that hurt, arrow sling right in your heart. Okay. He's hurting me.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just check that one, if that's true. He's hurting me. Is
Yeah,
that
that's true. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's as I said, we were arguing, and that's the only piece of it that I remember, and I'm hanging on to that. It's,
yeah.
it just, sort of like rejecting me because I have brown eyes or something, like.
Yeah. And it's okay. So what happens? Well, just see if it's absolutely true. He is hurting me.
Yeah.
Okay. What happens when you think it? You see it that way. Here comes this gesture. He's hurting me. That hurts. What happens when you think that thought?
I shrink. I mean, I just really shrink into less than, it stops me, it floors me. There's no retaliation to that. There's no response. I'm just paralyzed to a certain degree.
Yeah.
He got in a good one there.
Yeah. And how do you see him and yourself? How do you treat him? He's hurt me. He's hurting me.
I back off. I kind of I freeze. That's the, if I'm looking at fight, flight, freeze, fawn, I freeze. That's what happens. I don't have any response to it. I don't know. I just feel somewhat annihilated, actually.
Well, yeah. Okay. I am the one who's been annihilated, devastated. Yeah.
Yeah, sort of dehumanized even. I mean, just, yeah, powerless. That's a good word, powerless,
Yeah.
in a bad way.
Yeah. Okay. So just feeling that powerless experience. He hurt me because of my body, or the gesture about the body. And what images do you have about where this is going? I mean, just notice being that time sitting on the couch, looking at that gesture, and then,
Isolated. I mean, just really just on my own, isolated and alone. And
okay, it means I'm alone, it means I'll be alone. Okay.
yeah, I mean, it feels like I like got zapped into this like desert environment, where there's almost no landscape and, just isolated and alone. Like I said, there's just no retaliation. There's no, we're fighting and there's nothing I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Nothing you can say back, nothing you can do.
No recourse.
Okay. So, right in that situation, in that feeling, in that experience, who would you be without the story, he's hurt me?
In that particular situation, I feel like I would have some power back. I would be able to re-engage with whatever we were
Hmm.
challenging each other with. I'd be zapped back into the couch. I'd be back into my personhood. I'd be, um, able to stand strong, not in a, truly defensive way, but just, I don't know, I'd be back into pre that comment or that gesture. Um, it would wash over me. It would mean nothing more than him saying, you hung the towel, you didn't hang the towel up or whatever.
Mm. So powerful back here, back in the situation, and then just looking at him and that gesture that has been so frightening and everything it means, and just just looking at it without any story. Like, I've never seen this gesture before in my life. Just got here from another planet and I'm just here and noticing the look on this person's face and what they might be experiencing.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if it didn't completely annihilate me, I would be able to just make good decisions for myself. I would be able to get on with my life without feeling less than.
Mm. Okay.
I mean, because I've been holding on to that image for 20 years.
Mm, yeah.
To be able to let that go and not feel smaller, annihilated, alone. I
Yeah.
mean,
I mean, even noticing like it's like I got batted out into the desert in some way, but then I'm back. I'm back in the middle of that situation.
mhm.
I'm here. Okay. Without the meaning on it. Not like I'm in denial. I see something, there's upset happening, it seems. There's a lot of energy in the room. So let's turn it around. Okay, he hurt me. I hurt myself. And definitely, I love the way Katie says a kiss and not a slap. My thinking hurt me. The thinking just happened.
Yeah, it's the judgment that I put on. If I didn't have judgment about my body shape, I don't think I would be affected.
Isn't that amazing to see? I hurt myself, and I'm already might have been doing that with expectations about my body.
Right.
Or my thinking might have been doing that already.
Absolutely. Absolutely. My thinking it's doing it constantly, not. And with regards to like the quote at the beginning, it's not, it doesn't leave me at all. That comparison of me, because the reason it hurts so much is the comparison of me to the whatever ideal, or what I should be, that I failed in some way. And if I could wipe that away, if I could clear the blackboard and not feel as though I failed, or I haven't met an expectation that I hold, I could be fine.
Yeah. I mean, just notice how your mind doing its work, looking at being belonging and not getting rejected, and what it gets busy with, that it already has been picking up a lot of clues by the time you're 20 in this situation,
Yep.
and everything it can. It's okay. It's been doing that. So that's what minds do, it seems. So I hurt myself with all that. Or just joined with it. It's okay.
Yeah, it's like if he had criticized my intelligence, it wouldn't bother me because I am confident in my intelligence. If he criticized my cooking, wouldn't bother me. I don't think, but there's just so much baggage, or that's not the right word. There's just so much judgment that I put on myself.
Yeah, powerful to see just that that's there. The arrow is in.
Yeah, he hit the target.
Yeah. Okay. So seeing that, let's look at another turnaround. So yeah, it was already there, and he just fit the fit the story, just matched. Okay, he hurt me. He rejected my body. Now just see if you can find this one. I hurt him. in that situation.
I think I must have obviously hurt him that he chose to hurt me in a way that he probably knew was going to hit the mark. I,
Mhm.
yeah, he was retaliating, I'm sure, to something, some barb that I had thrown.
Mm.
But do I hurt him by not having confidence in my physical body?
That's an interesting one. I'm just noticing. Yeah. Wow. That's an interesting turnaround example. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure. That there's some, current present day stuff around that right now where, there's I've talked about this with you guys before, there's this guy and my nervousness about being rejected for my body is impacting our interaction. And so um
That's so powerful. It's like just watching that something in you does separates and gets over here and runs for the hills. Or
mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, or not constantly, but asking him to prove to me he's not going to reject me because of my body shape. I mean, that adds so much overhead to what's going on between us.
Mm.
Um,
Wow. Yeah. And just seeing, not wrong, just that longing for assurance, but that because of something's here.
as though assurance is even possible in any situation.
Yeah. Yeah. Kind of a sweet turnaround example.
Thanks.
Yeah. And he didn't hurt me. He didn't reject me. How could that be possible in that situation?
He's showing his judgmentalness more than anything.
Yeah, he's revealing what's running in him.
And he's also showing that he's hurt because he chose to sling a very sharp arrow at a very sensitive target.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing? It's like, what would be going on with somebody that they would pick the thing that would feel so sensitive?
Mhm. I mean, it reveals that there is something that he's hurting about.
Yeah. He cares. He's like, you know, wants a contact, passion,
Mhm.
want, something.
Yeah, and I would imagine there's regret maybe immediately for him.
Hmm. Well, seeing any more examples there about just real solid evidence of not hurting me, not rejecting me in that moment.
I mean, I can kind of feel that, he had regret, which indicates compassion for me, or
Mm.
it all of it shows a connection. I mean, all of it. If he didn't care, there wouldn't be this sensitivity, this.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing? I can so find that too. Like, what else would it take to have me stop fighting? And I love
Yeah,
noticing, I don't want to be just in war.
nobody does,
Yeah.
right?
Okay, so just seeing that, I mean, so powerful. How are you willing to have this be that this happened? I mean, just I'm willing to have him hurt me, reject me.
I'm feeling a lot of compassion for him right now, interestingly enough.
Hmm.
There's the desire to like wrap him in my arms.
Hmm. Hmm.
Perhaps he felt rejected by me, and that's why he had to do that. I mean, just there's a lot of compassion right now.
Yeah.
It said more about him and what was going on with him than it did about me. That's what I'm seeing right now.
Yeah. Hmm. Very, very kind and very powerful, really. Just the sense of that. I love that Teresa just shared in the chat. He healed me.
Yeah, no, the experience feels very different now. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. If this was for me and not an attack at me, I mean, just holding it that way, just willing to hold it that way. Noticing, could I be okay, even though an arrow came and went through my heart?
I can.
Mhm.
I can be even more than okay. I can be human. I can be compassionate. I can be supportive and not small, but Jennifer sized.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. I love Dina shared, this work is so amazing. I'm seeing so much in myself that wants to attack those who've hurt me. And so much power here in stepping out of that pain and looking at them with thoughts. And so interesting to hold that as if the attack is about the body and the body shape and size and the body appearance and whatever, that something's rejectable, reject worthy about the body, and just holding that, my own internal conversation with reality. Could I also, if I live the turnaround, I don't want to hurt me. I don't want to attack myself. I mean, okay that we've thought of that, it just doesn't wind up working. And some part of you already does not attack yourself. You're here, persistent, present. So one more here. It's so powerful. Okay, I'm willing to have that this happened. And I'm willing that this would happen again. That somebody might reject or judge or hurt. Apparently, I'm willing to have that happen again. How could that be true?
Gives me an opportunity for compassion.
And isn't that an amazing opportunity?
It's connection. I don't know, it's like it would strengthen a connection. Like at the beginning of the Katie quote, she says, they ask, how are you? And I say, I'm fine. And then the connection occurs.
Yeah, I'm joining,
Mm-hmm.
which I love that too, like, oh yeah, I adopted that stance about bodies. I decided they were worthy of rejection or acceptance, and then everything, qualities about myself, good, bad. I was doing that too, or my thinking was doing that. My thinking, thoughts were doing that, not even mine necessarily. But I know what it's like. I've got a mind too. Yeah. And I even look forward to experiencing rejection or hurt, or an arrow going in my heart. I look forward to that. How could that be true?
It takes us down a path of knowing each other better.
Wow. Powerful. Yeah, Bonnie's sharing because now I get to do inquiry about it and transform it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, because something comes alive there and gets really afraid that it really is important that my body's a certain way in order to be accepted and belong. And I see that that's not true. It's like I'm interested in losing that story and I don't have to get rid of it. And I'm just like being with that connection, separation. I love connection to life. Don't want to be afraid of life. I look forward to it because I really don't want to be afraid of life and the people that show up in it that have judgments. And it's okay that for a second, it feels dangerous. Or for 20 years, whenever I think about it. Yeah. I mean, it just shows how important it is. Something about is really key and important there, and it's all right. And of course, you haven't been thinking about it for 20 years. It's occurred to you.
Mhm.
memory.
Yeah,
So,
not an everyday thing.
yeah, 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 not at all. Hmm.
Yeah, and it challenges me also, not to be out in that desert and keep myself in the world.
Mm. Yeah. Mm.
It might be so easy to fall into that self-pity and better to stand up and be strong in myself.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be isolated like that. I want to be in the world.
Yeah.
And
I
that does involve pain. There is that.
Yeah. It's okay. It's like if we didn't, it feels painful, like just whatever that is. If you even took the label off of that, it's pain. It's very intense. Explosion. I'm rejected. Oh no, I'm hurt, or whatever. It's okay. I'm not trying to but just being with that. That's what it is. Something feels like that right there, and I don't have to go run away from it. I can come back if I do run away. No choice.
Right. Like Dina's saying in the chat, it's an opportunity to heal that piece.
Yeah.
And I keep looking at Donnie's picture with him and the little child. There's this, opportunity to heal that inner little child that's, and show love. I mean, I could see the love in the picture.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing? I really want to experience the unconditional love that I'm open to. And I just notice I'm putting conditions. Yeah. And Dina, I like that you said that. It gives me the opportunity to take care of the part in me that is hurting. Yeah. So we're not skipping over that something feels heart piercing. I'm going to be with them and comfort them and see how I'm okay. Ruth sharing, Jenny, you have the loveliest light glowing in your face. Just beautiful. Thank you for being so brave and honest. So other feedback or takeaways, what did you find? How are you? Anything you want to share, anyone? Look, let's just hear that Katie quote again. People think that self-realization is something special, but we're not at home until we're at home in the ordinary. That's where it feels comfortable. Someone will say, "How are you?" And I might say, "Fine." It's joined, it's penetrated. So I'm unrecognizable. I'm standing with everyone else on the corner of the street, eating the hot dog, watching the band go by. I'm neither more nor less than you. If we're even one breath more or one breath less than anyone else, we're not at home. Amazing to just hold that and imagine those people where there's an argument. I love that you said there was an argument underway. I can't even remember what it was, but there was a lot of energy there. and danger. And Sarah is sharing, thank you, Jennifer, for such courage and opening to this inquiry. I've learned so much, especially in being compassionate with myself. Yeah, what an amazing living turnaround there. I'm healing from that experience. Yeah, Mary.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jennifer. It revealed something about myself to me in that I was identifying with your husband at the time, boyfriend,
Boyfriend.
in that I thought maybe he wasn't hurting you because what he was doing was defending himself, actually, that his intention and his motive was not to hurt, but to protect. And I see that in myself. And I was thinking about like little children, like 2-year-olds or 3-year-olds, and they get just out of control in a temper, and they lash out and they might hit somebody, because they're just like, just, and their intention isn't actually to hit. And I thought, I defend by attacking. So if I feel like someone's going to hurt me, if I'm under threat, I'll attack. And so I just thought, oh, wow, it's protection. It's really a defense by attacking. So that was one thing, awareness I had. And then there was another point where in the turnarounds, when you were looking at how might you have hurt him? And I thought you might have hurt him by not challenging him to be a bigger person, by not confronting him in the moment, by allowing him to be his lesser self and not asking him to be a bigger self.
No,
So
very
that,
good.
and the only reason I know that is because this morning my partner reminded me that early on she was talking to me in a sort of habitual unconscious way where she was putting me down the way her father had talked to people. And she said, I just would take it. I would. And she was so thankful. Like she said, you just put a stop to it, because I didn't receive it. It didn't make sense to me. And I was like, you're not talking to me like that. And so I think that's why that was in my mind. And when you have this big, generous spirit that you got to today, you could probably have challenged him. You just, didn't have it at the time, but.
Yeah,
So,
like seeing that person, do they look, pleased and at peace and loving, and, their full, joyful, powerful self? No, they do not look like that. And it doesn't mean we need to go in but it's just seeing they might, they don't want to hit. There's often a lot of aftermath when we attack people with words, or we feel horrible afterwards. Guilt and regret and triggered and all those kinds of things that happen. And I also love what you're sharing, Mary. It's like, and to notice how this dynamic happens inside our own minds. There's the attacker and the wounded one. It just seems to be what, it's all in there. Inside here. Can I comfort the attacker that's inside of me? and comfort the wounded one, or just notice that I'm holding it all without trying. Here I am. Anyone else want to share a takeaway or what you got from listening? Anne's sharing, I remember once having the presence turning to my verbally abusive partner of many years and saying, wow, you must be in a lot of pain to speak to me that way. And then she burst into tears. Wow. The presence to turn. That's amazing. Yeah, that's it, isn't it? Yeah, Bonnie.
Thank you, Jennifer. And one of the things that stayed with me is that arrow, the arrow to the heart, and that I have arrows, from the past that are there. They almost become crystallized there, but the incident that came to my mind is one I talked about on one of these calls months ago, and it's still there. So this gives me opportunity to look at the arrows that are there and transform them, and do inquiry on them, so I can clear them out, not just bring it up to remember how hurtful the other person was, because it's easy for me to get off on that, like, what a jerk. But to actually, either take those arrows out or transform them into something else. So that really gave me an insight. Thank you very much.
It's beautiful. It reminds me, Bonnie, of Katie saying, defense is the first act of war. And we don't take that with saying, oh, fault finding. Just seeing. Pierced by the hurt, letting it, instead of getting stuck in the heart, just move through. And powerful to see if I lived this turnaround, and especially if I have thoughts about the body being reject worthy, how would I live that turnaround? The body being as it is healing me, not hurting me. How could that be true? Or just what would that feel like? How would I go about my day? This body is just right for me in the moment. And that's really different, isn't it? Yeah. Anat, hello.
Hey, so beautiful to be here this morning. Thank you so much, Jennifer. I could really follow along with this idea of it's not even words, it's just a gesture. I was sitting with the look I received from my mom for this whole time, and with a turnaround, I could really sense all this love and concern and this this wish to protect herself and me from her stories. And it was just a beautiful opening for me to be able to see that gesture that I could, I put so much into those eyes, into this look, into the shape of the lips and the head, and, and to be seeing it just transforming, and seeing just the love, and seeing how love and the wish to protect sometimes really can damage, how we, and me as a mom too, like sometimes how I put myself worrying and in concern for my kids, and seeing how that can be translated too and taken in other ways too. So it's a beautiful lesson for me, and thank you for holding that space for me to be able to look at that.
Beautiful. Mm. Yeah. It's like looking at a philosophy of life that would appear in the mind that says you have to be careful in this department. This isn't safe here. Life isn't safe. Is it true? With this body, yeah, I really like that it kind of kicked off with a body. It can go anywhere, but something about this body being judgment worthy, and that I'll be safer if I didn't receive judgment. What if it's safer than I think? Safer than I think. Yeah, Mary.
This is a little different, but since we're talking about the body, I have chronic migraine, and so I have problems with my body, which produces this syndrome. So it's a whole thing. And sometimes it's invisible. And sometimes I've wished that I've said, I'd rather be in a wheelchair, because then people could see what my limitations are. And sometimes I've looked, I know, that being overweight in this society is a struggle. And I have sometimes looked at people who are overweight and thought, at least their struggles are revealed to everybody all the time. Like there's something about that that's transparent and vulnerable, and you can't hide it. Where I'm always trying to hide, and I can successfully hide my inadequacies, my physical inadequacies. You can't see it. And people don't see me accurately as to how troubled and inadequate and all the same feelings I feel, because I'm not living up to, like, I don't know what, a healthy body, an athletic, super athletic person, or all these ideals that I feel are kept from me. I don't think that I'm a great bargain as a partner because I have this illness, and I'm, but it's hidden. So it's just something, I don't know, I wanted to contribute to the conversation. I don't know if I've really worked on it, but it came up for me. So.
Well, I just love it as a demonstration of just watching how the mind goes, oh, that would be better in that light, and that would be worse over there in that light, and this would be good. And if I only, and just lots of about the physical manifestation of whatever's happening, and you're just watching it go, so kind of trying to figure it out. And and seeing the mind has objections. It thinks it isn't safe to have this condition. Like you see a little person shaking their fist at the sky. I can't live under these conditions. That's what I always see, kind of in a humorous. I can't live with this condition, having a body. I can't live with this condition of having a body. Maybe I can. Maybe I have always. Maybe it's all right. And I can, just keep relaxing with the experience, noticing how frightening I've thought it is, that this body's temporary and it's going to die. And get separated. Amazing. Anyone else have anything they want to share? Thank you, Jennifer. It was really beautiful work. Yeah, thanks for bringing that. All right, my friends. So it's one more time. If we're even one breath more or one breath less than anyone else, we're not at home. Shows us where to do the work. All right. Take yourself off mute and say goodbye. Bye,
All right, thank
everybody.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Lots of
Bye.
love, everyone. Take care.
Thanks, Jennifer. Thanks, everybody.
Thank
Bye.
you. Thanks, Anne. Bye,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Jennifer.
Thanks, Jennifer.
Thanks for being here, everybody.